So let's put an end to the lies. Let's not allow people to decide for us what is. Let us decide what is. Let us use facts and logic and reason and not allow liars to dictate to us what is happening. Tony Katz, 93 WIBC. On Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Be sure to like the page. The lie is not that there aren't people out there who don't like Donald Trump. There are people out there who don't like Donald Trump. It is not that there are people out there who don't like what Donald Trump says or tweet. There are people out there who don't like what Donald Trump says or tweets. These things are fine. These things are pretty normal in the world. You're not going to like what everybody has to say. But to proactively and aggressively, time and again, lie about what it is that the president has said, to move your agenda, is completely and totally obscene. That is happening in the wake of El Paso and Dayton. As I've told you, Dayton moving off the front pages because it doesn't fit the narrative. Dayton, it was a leftist. Dayton, there was no manifesto. If you're showing your support for Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, it's hard for those people who want to move a narrative to utilize this horrific shooting as a way to move their political agenda. And moving the political agenda is the story. And it's horrible, and we know it. We are aware of it. We see it every single day. And we have heard a series of other things regarding El Paso. How responsible Donald Trump is. This was Beto O'Rourke.
After the president warned of caravans, you had somebody go into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh, warning of caravans. You had the mosque in Victoria, Texas, burned to the ground on the day that Trump signed his executive order seeking to ban Muslim travel to the United States. So there are very real consequences to his words, to his tweets, to the racism that he fans. You saw this in May at a rally in Florida. He says, how are we going to stop these people, meaning these immigrants, from coming to this country? Someone yells out, shoot them. The crowd roars their approval.
He laughs.
He laughs.
That isn't what happened. And we're going to put an end to the lies. One of the lies is this whole idea that President Trump has referred to Mexicans as rapists. All Mexicans are rapists, which is, of course, false. It didn't happen. I didn't say you had to like the president. I'm saying that what you're saying about President Trump calling all Mexicans rapists is untrue. It's false. It didn't happen. PolitiFact, talking about Tim Kaine, August 2016, in a speech where Tim Kaine, the former vice presidential candidate for the Democrats, said Donald Trump says all Mexicans are rapists. False. Because that's not how it went down. He has talked about people coming across the border and coming across the border illegally. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. This is his words, not mine. Quote, they're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. That is not calling Mexicans rapists. That is a lie. We have now put it to rest. Let us move on. Let us move on to something else that Beto O'Rourke said.
You had the mosque in Victoria, Texas, burned to the ground on the day that Trump signed his executive order seeking to ban Muslim travel to the United States.
It did not ban Muslim travel to the United States. The executive order, which has been upheld, has put an end to travel from nations that support terrorism, proactively support terrorism. If Beto O'Rourke is opposed to that, well, then my goodness, Beto O'Rourke is more daft than I ever imagined. But the big one was that one about shoot 'em.
To his tweets, to the racism that he fans. You saw this in May at a rally in Florida. He says, how are we going to stop these people, meaning these immigrants, from coming to this country? Someone yells out, shoot them. The crowd roars their approval.
He laughs.
He laughs.
That never happened. Let me share with you what did happen. Good work to Rich Lowry over there at National Review, and we've got the audio. It was a rally in Florida. They're in the Panhandle. And President Trump is discussing the caravans. The caravans coming north, to which I have said, if 10,000 people say they're coming to the border and they demand entry, If it's not an invasion, what is it? I mean, I'm asking because what other word could possibly come into play other than invasion? Let's go to definitions. An incursion by a large number of people or things into a place or sphere of activity, an unwelcome intrusion into another's domain. It is what it is. Words have meaning. And if you don't want to call it an invasion, you call it something else. You tell me what that other thing is. 10,000 people demand entry into the United States? It's acceptable to call it an invasion. But the president is discussing this. Remember what they said. The president said, they're coming. What are you going to do? Someone in the crowd yelled, shoot him, and he laughed. You know what they don't share? Everything that happened prior. This is what happened. Here's the president in his own words.
But we're the only one that has judges. Judges. Think of it. They come across, we have judges. We're the only one. Nobody else has judges. We give them a trial. We need Perry Mason. It's crazy. Folks, it's crazy. And then they say, and the wall would help because, not help, the wall would stop it. Okay? The wall would stop it. I mean, when you have 15,000 people marching up and you have hundreds and hundreds of people and you have 2 or 3 border security people that are brave and great, and don't forget, we don't let them and we can't let them use weapons. We can't. Other countries do. We can't. I would never do that. But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no...
That's when somebody else shoot him.
That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement.
Now, if you see the video, he shakes his head and he's smiling. The guy like, what are you doing? Only in the panhandle can you get away with it. The line that comes directly before somebody yelling, shoot him.
And don't forget, we don't let them and we can't let them use weapons. We can't. Other countries do. We can't. I would never do that.
Completely omitted by the Beto O'Rourke's and by the Jorge Ramoses and the rest of the intelligentsia left that claims to be our betters. Guys, they're lying to you and me and we every single day. They're trying to gaslight us into thinking this about the president and about the country. We're not falling for it. You shouldn't fall for it. MSNBC, CNN, a series of others lying every single day. Every single day. Don't fall for it. Matt Baer, take it to 45. What's happening?
East side, northbound 465, still